what's your purpose? What's your purpose?
Yes.
What's your goal? You know,
Yeah.
like, okay, my purpose now for me, to example, is just I'm gonna do my best to make my fighters succeed to become a champions, you know, and that's my goal. That's what I'm gonna do. Everything else comes for me. I don't know how other people think, but for
Yeah.
me, that comes in
Yes.
the end, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
So going back to when you just said it's not being selfish. So you might think it's not being selfish and that's bad not to be selfish, but really it's a good thing.
Yeah.
You being selfish and taking care of yourself
Yeah.
helps you level up, which will rub off onto people around
Because
you.
if you're not feeling good, if you don't love yourself, how are you going to make others feel good? How are you going to make others, how are you going to love others if you can't feel really good by yourself? Make sense?
Totally. Visualize how if you start putting in the steps to build the life that you came here to build.
Yeah, and it is that, it's simple as that. It's black and white. Unless you actually do something about your life, unless you genuinely take the time to improve your life, change the way you think, the habits that you do, how you look at investing in yourself, the people you hang around with, the things that you eat, unless you genuinely change all of these things, small incremental steps, you are going to live a life of poverty for the rest of your life. And then you're going to be on your deathbed, or you're going to be at some point in life, maybe a little bit older, maybe you're 40 years of age, and you're going to be thinking, I could have done something for my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think
Don't wait until that time comes.
The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. That's what I tell people, especially older people. I feel like I've wasted a lot of time. I say, look, but you're here now.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Stop looking back. Let's go forward.
Okay, we've got the future ahead of us. I'm going to help you get where you need to be. Trust me. We're going to make you a plan. We're going to get you there.
How much time do you want to put to work? How much time do you want to put to self-development? How much time do you want to put to relationships? How much time do you want to waste? Are you happy with wasting 3-4 hours of your day? You know, I'm not. I'm happy with hour, maybe 2 hours. You with me? And soon as you get this structure in place, you have a lot more idea of like where your time is going and what you really want to be doing with your time.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm aware of how I use my time. And when people say, "Oh, people shouldn't sit in front of Netflix, they should read, they shouldn't do," and I go, because you come like I said earlier, to what I said to my kids, don't just accept everything you're being told, because the latest book you read doesn't mean you go, "Oh, now I'm going to move to that." I often read and I go, I do not agree with any of this.
Yes.
Or I agree with parts of this. Oh, that's interesting, and piece that together there.
Totally.
So I know roughly my structure, and everything is calculated. And sometimes I think, oh, a trip to the gym is calculated. It's about me like ticking the box for fitness and making sure that I'm working out enough. And so I need to go at least 4 or 5 times a week, otherwise I'm annoyed. I need to go to the sauna. Because why? Well, because the sauna helps me sweat and there's health benefits.
And you feel great after coming out.
You feel better.
Yes.
But it's calculated.
Yes.
And in the evening, I watch Netflix. Why? Because it'll be with my wife and my kids and we're all chilled out. And it's a chance for me to unwind. I don't necessarily want to pick that book up because there comes a point where I go, come on, just stop. The moment I get up, I'm doing something.
Yes.
So there's nothing wrong with watching Netflix now and again.
Totally. You need some time to lay back, put your feet up and take everything in.
Because you need to recharge. If you don't recharge, you get burnt out.
I hear you.
So don't try and fit everything in.
Yeah.
I would like to do more reading. I'd like to do more meditating. At the moment, I can't work out where that fits into my
schedule,
like daily schedule.
Yeah. I'm with you. So while we're on the subject, how does a perfect day look like for Dan?
Up early.
What time early?
6 o'clock.
Okay.
6:30 maybe.
Alarm or no alarm?
No alarm.
No alarm.
A coffee straight away.
Okay, so so what I recommend to my clients is the day starts the night before. So like I advise them to put pen to paper and plan the next day, and then also what time you're going to sleep. You with me? So
I would like to sleep earlier than I do. I'd like to be asleep by 9:30.
Okay.
And I'm about 10:30, but I would like the 9 because I'd like to get up earlier. I would just, my mum always said to me, every hour you sleep before, and it sticks. Every hour you sleep before midnight is worth 2 after.
I have actually seen that in a book.
Yeah, and I
somewhere
go,
like that.
I reckon
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
I just reckon it's right. If you went to bed at like 12 o'clock and you got up at 6 hours there, or you went at 9 and got.
And a lot of the time, the later into the evening, as you just mentioned, is the less productive time.
Yeah, and
It's
the
like
trick is sometimes you feel like you deserve to be awake a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you think, when I go to sleep, that's final. And then my day starts again. But you need to tell yourself, no, you're going to sleep now because your day will be even better tomorrow if you can just put your head down an extra 30 minutes or an hour earlier. So my perfect day would be asleep by 9. And I would love to be up at 5:30, 5 in the morning before the world started.
Yeah.
You know, you feel like you've got borrowed time. You're sitting there and you're just chilling out.
Yeah. I feel like the person who I came here to be. When I wake up before the sun rises, yeah, that's Christmas to me.
It's better, but I don't do that.
Okay. How often do you?
No, I don't. It's like I say, it's the 6:30 sort of time
Got
frame.
ya. Oh, okay. I'm with you.
But everything's up and about by 8 o'clock. Kids are at school. I like to be at work and working at an early time. I like to be at my desk as early as I can.
So what I would, if you was my client, Dan, I would recommend you track that. If you want to push it to 5 o'clock, aim for 5 o'clock. Anytime you don't, 5:30, 6 o'clock, write it down. Monday, 6:15, so and so. Boom. That's what I would recommend.
Yeah. See, I know all the right things, but it's there's still that I'm still human.
Totally.
And I'm trying to paint this perfect scenario, but at the same time I realize I try and structure too much. Like come on, when do you stop being human? Like, I want to be up at 5. I want to do this then. I want to do that.
Well, I would ask yourself, at the end of the day, how proud are you of yourself?
Yeah, I'm very happy with who I am.
There you go.
There was no plan of action. There was no where's this going to take me in 5 years' time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had no guidance around it. So for me, I'd say, you know, if you're lost and, you know, you don't know where to go, find somebody that has already been through it that can teach you what to stay away from, what not to follow. A mentor, you know, a guider, you know, because it's hard to find that in your family. Sometimes, you know,
it's very strange, isn't it? That looking back at it now, like I couldn't see myself not like giving strong guidance and support, but maybe in that time your parents just aren't aware. They're just not aware.
That's it. And they're not, you know, they've grown up in a different age, you know, in a different time. Everything has changed. So they, you know, I've got a lot of love for my mum and dad. You know, a lot. They did the best that they could.
With the tools they had.
With the tools they had, the knowledge they had, the experience they had, you know what I mean? They all just wanted me to be safe and happy, you know what I mean? But that bubble that was created within the family, you know, I didn't want that, you know what I mean? I want some chaos. I want some, you know, active life. I want some real stuff, you know what I mean? I don't want to be in this protected, safe bubble anymore, you know?
That's what really slowed my growth down as well. My mum took too good care of me. You know what I mean? When she should kick me out many times and I was being an absolute nightmare, she didn't. Do you know what I mean? It was only until she started kicking me out and really had enough of me, that's when things started to switch and I started to make changes, you know? Yeah, man. But I appreciate, again, all the things that they've done for me, because I wouldn't be the person that I am today.
Exactly.
So you got to give thanks, ain't you?
Yeah. These days, like nowadays, I've got a lot of gratitude towards my family, you know, and, you know, considering the things that I've put them through, you know, which we'll go on to talk about, you know, me repaying them, me giving back, me showing them my love, it's just giving them my time. Speaking to my mum, speaking to my dad, calling up my brother, are you all right? You good? Okay, cool. See you in a bit. I'll call you next week. Them little things are things that I stopped doing. You know, I started to take them for granted. I take my family, my whole family, I take for granted because I know they're there. And that knowledge that they're there, they're not going anywhere. It's like,
there's nothing else to work on. There's nothing else to grab, sort of thing.
So nowadays I make an effort to kind of, you know, see my dad because he lives in Thailand now.
Oh,
He's
really?
moved
Oh,
here. Yeah, he
wicked,
lives
man.
down not far away.
Congratulations.
So I make an effort to try and see him. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because he's he's getting on a bit.
Mm.
He's you know what I mean. He's doing well, but I know that family, mum, dad, people, they don't last forever.
No,
You know what I mean?
totally.
You can wake up tomorrow and your closest person could be gone.
Mm.
I know how serious it is and how that feels, you know what I mean?
Mm.
To lose people that are close to your heart
Mm.
and regret not having spent or done what you
More
said you were
time.
going to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With that person,
Yeah.
you know?
Totally know what you're saying. So while we're on the subject, give me some more insight into how maybe you looked at death and how you dealt with death previously to how you would deal with or hope to deal with death in the future.
So my experience kind of with death is very sudden, and I've been very kind of emotionally cut off from it.
Mm.
My mind's safety mechanism has been, if someone's gone, they're gone, forget it. Very selfish. You know what I mean? No, you know what I mean? It's like
Compassion.
no compassion, no empathy. And I've
Yeah.
I've often thought to myself, why am I like that?
Yeah.
Why do I not feel it?
Mm.
Like I remember when my dog died, I think that's when that feeling's kind of cut off, because that was my first experience with death. My
Yeah.
dog dying when
Oh,
I
okay.
was when
How
I was
old was you
younger.
then?
I must have been about 13, 14,
Yeah.
something like
Because
that.
what I want to say is some of that attitude you want some of that acceptance. They've gone. I appreciate the time that they was here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
I'm going to start living my life with more gratitude.
yeah.
That's how I view it. You with me?
Yeah.
Rather than holding on, because you wishing that
Mm.
you should have spent more time with them
Yeah,
is still attachment.
yeah. That's
You
how
with me?
that's how it is back then,
Yeah,
But
yeah.
now it's like I appreciate
Yeah,
each and every life. You know
yeah.
what I
And as
mean?
long as you've learnt from the previous
Yes,
mistakes,
that's it.
then
That's
now
it. That's
we're
it.
good to go.
That's
man.
it. So
Yeah.
now it's for me, it's if I've known a person well enough, I will have known their suffering, and if they pass away or they go, I know that they're no longer suffering. So it's a different feeling for me now. It's not like, it's not for selfish reasons. Oh, I wish I did this for them, and I wish I spent more. It's not selfish reasons anymore now. You know what I mean? I'm not being selfish over someone else's death. You know what I mean? Because that's how I was for a long time. Because me being in my addiction, I was full of self-centered, just everything's about me. It's all about me. I took death and I'd make it about me.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I take someone's praise or someone's, someone's just leveled up, someone just got fame, and I'd make it about me.
Yeah.
Everything that was around me, that was about me.
Ah.
I was the center of the world. That's how self-centered I was when I was using drugs.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. How did you maneuver and transition throughout that stage of your self-growth?
You're tired when you exercise, you know what I mean? Jesus, you pain everywhere. Your joint, your muscle, it's in pain.
Yeah, but you
So what
look.
about you sit there and eating chip?
Oh, simple.
Yeah.
Simple. Yeah. So it's a case of switching the mindset of wanting that pain, that struggle that you were saying earlier on about when someone said that you can't reach that career. You was like, yes, I'm energized. I can. I want the challenge.
Yeah.
So you've got to embrace the pain.
Yeah, exactly.
Embrace the pain. One thing that's going through my mind now is with your upbringing, you all had that hunger.
Yeah.
You was hungry.
Yeah.
You had that.
You had
You
hunger for
needed
life.
that. Pardon?
You had hunger for life.
Yeah.
You're hungry for it.
You needed to bring your best self forward because that stress and like that lack drove you forward to.
It's like when someone says like, oh, I'm not good enough or I lost, I'm like, good. Like it just like fires me up. I'm like, that is the most powerful position you can be in.
Yes.
So that's sort of what really propelled me through everything.
See if you're not right with everything.
Yeah.
So the best body, the best car, the best house, but can all be good and well. But if you're not well spiritually,
you can't appreciate this stuff and can't enjoy it because somebody's always get better than you, or you're frightened that somebody's going to come and take it off you at some point, or you can't enjoy it because you think you don't deserve it.
Yeah, so it sounds like instead of having the ambition to have many material things, have the ambition to be the best person you can be, and it's hard to not get dividends and not get get received in return for the effort you put in.
But I believe that I used to be ashamed of the stuff that I've achieved.
Oh, really?
Because I come for nothing. You know what I mean? And I used to think people think I was showing off.
Oh, okay.
But I've learned that I'm a child of God and God wants the best for me.
Yeah.
You know, God wants me to have a nice house with a swimming pool.
Yeah.
And he wants me to have a nice car, and he wants me to have a nice motorbike. He wants me to have a nice girlfriend.
But do you not think it inspires people as well?
Aye, I think it's good bait. It's bait to attract people.
Yeah.
But what I'm more
There's two types in
I
there.
find it
There's
quite.
two types of people
I
in there.
find it quite sad because see when people, especially women in Pattaya, they don't say hello to you or don't entertain you, but then they see you in your motor and they see your house and you see different things, they become more.
You're attracted them. They're attracted them.
I mean the money, you know what I mean, which is makes me feel quite pathetic. Where you think, oh, no, how can you know? No, and people respect money more here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I respect money and give it to do what it's meant to be, but everybody's got a voice and everybody's important, you know what I mean? And it's, you know, but we all want to have nice stuff. But what I'm saying is I can enjoy my nice stuff instead of being ashamed of it. You know what I mean? And I can enjoy that having what I've got is enough instead of thinking I want more. Because when I'm no right, it isn't big enough and I want more. You know what I mean? So it's took me a while. It's took me a while to just enjoy and accept and pat myself in the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So just touch on that. Why do you feel that a lot of the females in Pattaya are so money hungry?
For me, I just think that it's poverty. It's another symptom. The same as my poverty. Do you know what I mean? But they've got a different kind of poverty. I believe that there's some of them are rich and spiritually. Do you know what I mean? They've got how their families. They've got this relationship with their family that I would never have.
Yes.
And I get jealous of that. They all sit together, close together, all live together. You know, they've got something that I've not got. So everybody's got some kind of spiritual sickness. It's like you come to Thailand and you see them want to have white skin, right? They inject themselves to have white skin. You go to UK, they've got had tannin salons for years. People injecting themselves and they want to be brown. And the Thai people don't want to be brown because they see it as poverty. And the Europeans want to have a tan because they see it as being rich. Do you know what I mean? So it's all just a bit of spiritual thing. And you go to the Thais want to have a big nose to look like a foreigner. Foreigners want to get a nose job to look smaller. And I think everybody wants to be something else, something different. Yeah. So I think once you accept yourself and love yourself for who you are, then you know, especially what's happening now with this media stuff and internet, people are looking at things, that's the way I should look and that's the way you know what I mean? Even my son, I worry about my son with the computers. It's took over his life, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a different generation where I can't relate to it, do you know what I mean?
There's a statement from, I think it's Eckhart Tolle, he says, want what you have.
Enjoy
whatever you have, want that. And obviously, search for keep your desires in the back of your mind, but want what you currently have.
Right.
What are some of the books and mentors and teachers that have mostly impacted your life?
Well, I'm a lot of YouTube stuff because I've got dyslexia, so thank God for YouTube. Do you know what I mean? So reading, I've got free books a day in the morning. So in our meetings we've got books or daily reflections. And it's about meditation. So it's on awakening. Okay. I've got on my book it will tell me to think about the next 24 hours ahead. What's my plans for the day? You know, so I'll think about just 24 hours.
Yeah, very present.
Yeah, and there's another old alcoholic priest, Brennan Manning, that I've spoken about. I love that man because I had these preconceived ideas about what God was, you know, and I thought because the life that I lived and that he spoke God when you want to know me, you know, you need to be doing these certain things. So this old alcoholic priest talks about the unconditional love of God and how that you can't earn God's love, that you've already got God's love, you know. So for me, God even loves me more when I was in my madness. And if somebody had asked me, do you think God loves you more with all the best things you're doing in your life and everything you're doing? and proud of you. I say, aye, but you know what? God loved you more when you were even in your darkness, because all he wanted to do was spend time with you in the morning. You wake up, meditation. So he gave me this idea, because I had these ideas that you had to be doing certain things. And it's like my son has got my love no matter what. And that's what I was taught, that God loves me exactly the way I'm at. No the ideas the way I think I'm at, because that comes with that buzzing fridge thing.
I'll tell you what happened. So during that time, I lost my biggest supporter, my everything. It was my mother. So my mother passed away in cancer. And during that time, I think that I just dropped everything, dropped to work, just throwing away my life for about a year, you know, and things were going really down, you know, really down, really bad. And I think, I don't know if you believe in, I believe in it. I believe it could be anything though, but I was lying in my bed, and then I saw the day when my mother passed away, they put her in a white long dress, and she was lying on a bed, you know, and that night I was in my room, and then it became really cold in the room, like really cold. And I just saw something like a light shining up, and I saw my mother. And from that day, everything changed. I just changed my life completely. I'm like, okay, because when you lose somebody like your father or your mother or whatever, God forbid, but you need always to understand that person, you cannot live in the past. You need to move on, and you have to deal with the pain. You will always be sad that you lost your mom, but you have to live with it, and you have to try to make them proud, make them feel like when you say rest in peace, they are really resting in peace, you know. Because if you're fucking shit up and doing this, doing that, you know, they're not gonna rest in peace, you know. And that's something like, imagine somebody who's been raising you since you've been young, and she made you to that person you are today. The person I am now, that's the one she raised me to. But the person I was before, that wasn't that person. That would make her sad.
I mean, one is when something bad happens, it's actually a good thing, and you've got to see it that way. And it's not just a cop-out, it genuinely is, because how many bad situations have you been in that have actually turned out to be the best thing that have ever happened to you? The worse it is, the better it becomes. So I think that's probably something that I could have told myself, but I also put out to the world.
What's the difference between a person that grows from the opportunity of the struggle, you with me, and then a person that crumbles?
The difference.
What's the deciding factors?
You know, I think that people who are being down, they will get stronger when they get up. But people who are up here and they are falling down, maybe they haven't been down there. You know what I mean? So then it will be harder for them to get up. But I think after every time you fall down, you will always learn from that mistake. What made you fall down? And then it will make you stronger later.
Some people don't rise up from it, do they? You know?
I know.
Some people just like, right, or just like a business opportunity, they start 2, 3 businesses, and then the one business just knocks them down that much. It's like they're paralyzed to get back up. You with me? So I lost my businesses about 2 years ago, food business and an events business, and it took me about a year to recover. You with me? But soon as I recovered, that was it. I was ready to climb again. You remember? I could still have.
But what made you
held down?
What made you to take that decision to go up? There was nobody who could change you. There was only yourself, right?
Well,